My philosophy for leadership revolves around a concept that I call a Smalls principle. Smalls principle. The Smalls principle is equal parts Biggie Smalls and Robert Smalls. Biggie Smalls, an iconic griot with complex storytelling ability that gave really deep social analysis, including that first line on his first album. I'd like to dedicate this album to all the teachers who told me I wouldn't amount to nothing, which describes the complexity of the urban experience in a way that's more profound than anything that could be written by any PhD. Had this one line that I think attaches to leadership. Stay far from timid, only make moves when your heart's in it, and live the phrase, sky's the limit. If you're a leader, the first thing is to be far from timid. You cannot be a leader and be scared. Them things don't work together. I cannot be an AP or a principal or a dean in any institution, and I'm scared of what somebody else. If your leadership is driven by a fear of your superintendent, fear of the state, fear of the test scores, fear of the whatever else it is, you can't even lead. So the first thing that you have to address is, who am I and what am I fearful of in this role? Once you're free and say, you know what? I ain't scared.
Yeah.
I got this position because I earned this position.
Yes, sir.
I got this position because I was called for this position. I've worked hard to get my degree so I could be in this role. Once you own that and you're not fearful, then you got checkbox 1. You ready to lead. Absence of fear. Stay far from timid. 2, only make moves when your heart's in it. Because once you're far from timid, that's so much self-work that you've done, that what you've done is that you've activated your intuitional knowledge. Intuitional knowledge has distortions from institutional knowledge. Institutional knowledge is how things have been done. It's what's in all the books. It's in what's in your degree. It's in what's your program. Unless you buy, my books or Principal Kefele's books where we telling y'all the truth. But it's in all those things that you've got that gives you institutional knowledge. But once you've done the work to be free, now you've unveiled your intuitional knowledge. Once you have intuitional knowledge, you got to learn to trust that. So the first step is far from timid. The second step, only make move when your heart's in it, which is trusting your intuition to do the work. That might mean ignoring the institutional and tapping into the intuitional. Stay far from timid, check. Only make move when your heart's in it, check. Then live the phrase, sky's the limit, which is the activation of the radical imagination. Shout out to Robin D.G. Kelly. So once you're far from timid and you make moves when your heart's in it, then you got to start activating your brain to say, what do I dream of for this school? If my dream is higher test scores, so be it. If my dream is emancipatory spaces, so be it. But you have to do this in a chronological order. You cannot dream without first being far from timid and only make moves when your heart's in it. You got the order distorted. The first is to address the fear, then only make move when your heart's in it, then have a radical imagination, and then you work on pursuing that. So far from timid, only make move when your heart's in it, and then live the phrase, sky's the limit. Leadership mantra 101.